I know, another video about The Idol. But unless you've been living under a rock, you've heard about all of the controversy surrounding Sam Levinson and The Weeknd's latest project. Between a switch out in writers and directors halfway through filming, a scathing expose in the Rolling Stone, and lackluster reviews from Cannes Film Festival, the rollout of this 6-part series honestly couldn't have gone any worse. And then, last week, the first episode finally dropped, and the reviews are in shambles. So a little backstory on the series. The Idol tells the story of troubled pop star Jocelyn, played by Lily Rose Depp. Following a nervous breakdown and the death of her mother, she's really not okay. The issue with the show really stems from the writing. Its attempt to explore the dangers of fame, exploitation, sexism and misogyny in the entertainment industry, all whilst perpetuating these same themes through its portrayal of the main character. Another criticism that I have of the show that I haven't seen widely discussed is in fact the representation of men, in particular black men. I know the show was co-created by The Weeknd, so this representation is coming from his mind as well as Sam Levinson's. However, black men in the history of media and society as a whole have been seen as overtly sexual, and to have a black male character being described as rapey, and in fact acting in that way towards a demure, petite, vulnerable white woman is hugely problematic and quite honestly lazy. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that if this character was played by any other race that he would be better. But what I am saying is in 2023, to have such a two-dimensional and stereotypical character is boring to watch. Also, having been a fan of The Weeknd before his pop and mainstream era, I know in his creativity and his lyrics he has always been this way, very overtly sexual. And in particular, through his lyrics, seems to have a slight fetish for European women. So when I'm viewing this show, it makes it that little bit more uncomfortable, as I do have to question, is The Weeknd expressing his creativity through this co-creation, or is he merely living out a fantasy? However, with all of the negative reviews that the show received both before and after its premiere, it was still ranked as one of the most viewed shows on HBO this week. And as we know, outrage sells. I have a strong feeling that Levinson's sentiments made at the Cannes Festival could come to fruition.
When my wife read me the article, I looked at her and I just said, I think we're about to have the biggest show of the summer.
With that being said, I wanted to know were there any other TV shows or movies that originally received negative reviews but ended up becoming classics? Some of these may shock you. Breaking Bad. Even 10 years after the final episode, Breaking Bad is still considered one of the best TV shows of all time, and still has a dedicated fan base. But after the airing of the first 3 episodes of season 1, both audiences and critics didn't hold that much hope for the show, calling it boring, slow-paced and pretentious with stiff performances throughout. Ouch! The initial feedback from test audiences was so bad that Sony and AMC had to call an emergency meeting with the writers to ensure that season 2 was more cohesive. Little did they know the rollercoaster that the show would end up taking us on. The Godfather Part 2. Often dubbed as one of the best sequels of all time, The Godfather Part 2 went on to surpass the original in terms of impact, awards and overall reviews. However, back in 1974, the sequel was absolutely slated. Vincent Carnaby of the New York Times wrote, "It's a Frankenstein's monster, stitched together from leftover parts. It talks, it moves and fits, and starts, but it has no mind of its own. Looking very expensive, but spiritually desperate." Well damn, Vincent. Clueless. The 1995 adaptation of Emma, the Jane Austen classic, isn't just a pop culture staple, but continues to influence the culture many years after its original release. But back when it was first released, critics shunned the film, slamming it as being shallow with boring storytelling. Time magazine critic Richard Corliss said, "Paying to see Clueless is not mandatory. You can learn most of the jokes by surfing through the TV and newspaper reviews and get a hint of Silverstone's blithe luster by watching MTV's relentless promotions. Taking this Cliff Note route, moreover, saves you from sitting through several slow stretches of plot sludge."
As if.
Whilst this film still gets mixed reviews till this day, It's a staple coming-of-age film, and there's no doubt that it's inspired many movies that have come since. Star Trek: The Next Generation. Considered a classic in sci-fi TV, you may be surprised to know that after the first season, audiences were turned off as they felt the plot was incoherent and lacked clear pacing. Many fans of the franchise even petitioned to boycott the show as they felt it tried to infringe upon the purity of the original Star Trek. However, by the end of season 2, audiences began to fall in love with the show and its characters, cementing itself as one of the most legendary TV shows in history. So how do you think things will pan out for The Idol in the long run? And do you think the negative reviews are justified? Sound off in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one. Peace and love. Bye!